All right, guys. We got BYUN in the top left side of the map for Shopify Rebellion. Solar for Falcons in the bottom right. It's a ZvT. It's the Pigstarcraft Weekly number 64. And this is a epic semi-finals, I do hope. It's two best friends. They're already chatting. If you guys want to translate it for me, you can go for it. I think Solar was saying some stuff before the game as well. But as always, I've tried to use Google Translate before and pointed at the screen, guys. It's so dodgy on the translations. I end up basically not casting and just being like, 13 mucous membrane, lol lol, smiley face, how then are you, Hyung-sang or something? And I'm like, I don't know what any of this, I don't think this adds anything to the commentary. If you guys want me to do some more translations, I will get it ready for the next BYUN Solar match, because these are the guys that do banter the most. And if I have it all open on my phone, I can maybe do the translations live. But generally speaking, there's usually someone in the comments or the Twitch chat who actually can read the Korean, read the Hangul, and do a rough translation for us, which is nice. All right, SCVs are building. Pretty standard one racks expand. Question is, do you try to block the third on this map? Because I feel both third bases, this one and this one, are both perfectly fine. I don't think it really matters which one you take as a Zerg, and therefore SCV scouts may be a bit overrated. I think BYUN might try and be a little bit greedy instead. This SCV, you can see, I don't think he's given it an order just yet, has he? No, it's just chilling. BYUN, hello? Yeah, he's just going to mine some minerals and build a command center, but he's actually mistimed this because he didn't send it down. So I think that command center is going to go down at 410 minerals. You see, 420 even, 430. BYUN, sloppy mate. Delays his command center by 2 seconds. Doesn't really matter. Just a small thing. You always want to queue up your SCVs ahead of time, especially in the early game. You just want to make sure everything happens. And you want to front load these orders, right? It's why Zergs will build a drone and they'll rally it to the mineral patch they want it to go to. They'll build an overlord and they'll already click on the minimap. Hey, you want to scout out here. You want to scout out here to see where Hellions come from. Kind of interesting to see when a player doesn't do that. I always imagine they're a little bit more distracted. It happens a bit more in weekly cups, not as much in the big tournaments. When it does happen in a big tournament, it's usually because they're still... It's like the first sign you get as an observer that the player's mind might not be in the present. They might be still thinking about the last game or theory crafting about the future of this game, and that's kind of dangerous because you need to be in the present when you're playing StarCraft. If you speak to anyone about like tennis and any other 1v1 sport, the thing where tilt happens, and you know, it's kind of the same in poker as well and a few other games, it's essentially where you're thinking about what's already happened or what's about to happen, and you're not as focused on the current moment. And the moment you get pulled out of the present, that's where you can make mistakes. I always forget there's a Reaper ledge on this side. Good drone pull. If he pulled towards the grenade, he might not have been able to escape. Because when you're mid-air, you, of course, cannot do a spore trick. Link speed and a third hatchery is on the way. BYUN's about to finally find that third hatchery on the right side. And, of course, behind this, he's gone free. Very standard build. Third command center. Notice how he's gone very quick starport second gas. So that delays his Hellion production. This is a very conscious thing. This is the standard way of going Hellion Banshee. But keep in mind, this does delay your Hellions a fair bit. They both start at 311. What do you guys call this thing, by the way? What is this just like a fancy light? Or like, what do we call this thing here? Ooh, good creep tumor snipe. Very nice. And I guess this map with all these like green colors and crystals, it's not like a normal Protoss map. Is this like a Tal'Darim map or something like that, guys? This is a map, it feels like a map where like, I don't know, Alarak or something might hang out, you know? Lots of like dark crystals and things everywhere. Chat says just a fire pit? Oh, you think this is just a fire pit? The Protoss sit around and like roast their Protoss marshmallows on it, hey? Protoss do photosynthesize for food, but they have nipples, so maybe they eat marshmallows, who knows? Not sure where they put it since they don't have mouths, but yeah, it is what it is. Hellions are going to rotate. Command Center does pull around. Third Command Center's there as well. Banshee's on the way, but he goes Stim, no cloak. So it's a cloakless Banshee build. That usually is indicative of someone who's a bit more focused on kind of rushing to the next step. He doesn't want to, you know, commit to 2 Banshees and cloak and really micro his heart out with them. He'll just poke across, try to force fours, try to force queens. He's kind of banking on Solar's defense being so solid. Gets another creep tumor. Is that like the third creep tumor he sniped? Second or third? Not bad. But he's banking on Solar's defense being good. So Solar's by default going to build 2 Overseers, 3 Spore Crawlers, 8 Queens. You kind of just by showing the Banshee play have probably achieved enough. Now, he's got to start a fake upgrade there. So you see he starts Interference Matrix because this means the Overlord's going to see the bubbles. So if you look at this from Solar's vision... Oh, look. Okay, yeah. So, okay, even if he's making stim on one of these, the other one is got to be cloak, right? It's got to be cloak. We can't see the starport. So you're going to build those spore crawlers if you weren't already building them. One in the third, one in the main. You already had one in the natural. Banshee's coming in from that side. Hellions are rotating in. Oh, those drones got stuck. That's 4 workers. Could kill the creep tumor with the splash damage. Yes, he knew the creep tumor was there. So by attacking the queens, even though he couldn't see that creep tumor, he gets the damage. This is not how you're meant to use this Banshee. Get him out of there. Gets himself a drone. Yes. Oh, he even misclicked it in this direction when he could have gone straight along the edge and not moved into the spore. But like I said, the way you're meant to use the cloakless Banshee is more conservative, guys. The whole point is to kind of poke in, kill a drone, run away. And keep it alive to defend counterattacks, to deny creep spread, and to keep you active on the map. But, oh, we haven't seen Solo do this much lately. He's going to do the Hydra build, guys. You know, he does double Evo Hydras. I'm a massive fan of early Carapace Hydras. The reason for this is I do think Carapace helps your Queens and Zerglings massively against the first stim Marine pressure, which is always kind of the scary moment with your Hydras. I think Solo's saying, dude, I'm going to get my Hydras so early, it doesn't matter. I can even defend the first 2 medevacs. Because look, the first 2 medevacs haven't started. So he feels he can get Groove Spines and is 1-1 mostly done by the time that double medevac stim pressure hits, which is not bad at all. Now, if BYUN throws this Banshee away, that is very bad. But with a Hydra style being out, not a pure Ling Bane, it's fine. Hey, Pig, how many queens do you have throughout the game? Do you only have to make extra queens when the enemy is rushing? Yeah, depends on the matchup. Zerg versus Terran is the most queen-heavy matchup because queens perform well against most of the early Terran units. But it depends on build orders. So often we'll talk about, like, pro meta, you normally build about 8 queens is pretty standard, right? Following the classic rule of 1 gas build. If you guys don't know the rule of 1 gas, look it up. Definitely we execute the opening a little bit differently to the old days, but it doesn't matter. The core concepts are exactly the same. So even if you follow my old guide from, I don't know, 8 years ago, 10 years ago on the rule of 1 gas, it holds up. And it was Snoot who taught me that at the end of Heart of the Swarm, revolutionized my ZvT play when I was a pro player, and that was always my weakest matchup. And yeah, I remember early Legacy, it became the standard pretty early on. I remember everyone was struggling with the BYUN's 2-1-1 build, and I was saying, yeah, how the hell are we meant to stop this? And then Scarlett was like, are you seriously asking this question? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, literally, your guide on that rule of 1 gas hard counters 2-1-1. And I was like, oh, really? And she's like, yeah. Anyway, here we go. Big push coming in. The Hydra's going after the Hellbats and the Marines. The Queen's coming forward as well. Oh, good link counter. Look at the link flank. Gets the siege tank. Both tanks go down. And that is brilliant defense for Solar, who's already doing very well. Now, I'm going to be critical. Solar's doing the 6-gas Baneling transition. So if BYUN, that was the push that's meant to counter this Hydra build, but I think BYUN didn't get there smooth enough, early enough, didn't protect his tanks well enough because the flank and these rocks now coming down as well. And he's kind of overcommitted on such a big map, and he hasn't found the damage. If you don't find the damage there, you're in a really bad spot. That first tank push, optimizing that's really big, and I can almost guarantee you Maru watching this game is already thinking about this because he's good friends with both BYUN and Solar, and he's always thinking about how to counter Solar. Maru's answer to this would be to cut workers. BYUN didn't cut workers this game. He played an economic tank push. If Maru sees Solar doing this build, he's going to shove off of probably about 50, 55 workers. He'll cut workers a lot to get his barracks down slightly faster. Might only build a single Banshee, and then that push is way scarier. Also, it's scarier on a smaller map. Good cancel on the 5th base on the right side there for BYUN. So I think the big thing now is BYUN needs to turtle up and build a ton of siege tanks to survive the counterattack. He's building a lot of Widow Mines. Dangerous. Hydras are hunting him down. Hydras have got +2 Kara, +1 melee. So the thing I'm critical about with Solar's build, his early game was great. He's getting away with it. But going Banelings this early is really weak with this style. If you get out 1 or 2 Infestors, I think it's much better for zoning and defending the big tank Marine pushes, as well as a bunch of other stuff. But perhaps the pro meta is basically the guys have gotten so good at just hitting those tank timings and not letting your Hydra Infestor land any good fungals. So maybe Solar, because I've seen Rogue, Solar, a bunch of the Zerg players are going Banelings. One of the problems with Hydraling Bane like this is you've gone 6 gases, you want to drone your 4th early, and it's hard to get enough Ling Bane out to have the numbers where they're effective. It's better at this stage, because now you've got a massive Ling Bane, now you're in pretty effective numbers, and early ghosts aren't going to be good against this. Like, the early ghosts are very good if you're a bit too committed to Hydra Infestor. Oh, look at this, not enough medevacs to pick everyone up there. Let's see how many he can save. The Marines trying to stand their ground. BYUN, mad dogging it. Does save 24 Marines, but that command center is out in the open. He's got nothing to defend. There's no siege tanks. Oh, he's got 2, but they're not here. The SCVs should have evacuated from that base. Very slow to get out of there. Solar just mauling. It's a great Zerg map, guys. Taito is an amazing Zerg map. But this is a really... Oh, he's going to go into the Spore Crawler. The Giga Chad Spore is there. Marine Mortar's trying to come down. But where are the Widow Mines? Where are the tanks? One has to beg the question. Because the command center gets sniped as well. Damn, Solar is just absolutely wrecking him. And we've seen these Hydra builds do well in the past and sometimes run away with the game against the likes of Clem. But this time it is not competitive at all. Once that first tank push failed, it was all ogre from there. So sorry for not talking about that tank push a bit more. I definitely could have done better commentary. Thought we had a bit more time. And suddenly there was tanks on the front. And the Hydra build is, at its core, a pretty greedy opening. That medevac goes into the Spore and dies as well. So you want to either be exceptionally greedy or exceptionally offensive with those early tanks. What is the rule of 1 gas? Google it. Google it. Hydraling Bane coming in. Ooh! Okay, Widowmine does get a shot off. Oh my god, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The Banelings corner most of those Marines. The Hydras with the Overseers for vision across the fog. Or not the fog, but the grass, sorry. We'll be able to clear that up. There's just way too much Zerg on the dance floor, man. He's got Adrenal on the way. Hydra Lunge is almost ready. Seismic Spine, so we can even make a Lurker transition. And this is just a rich 90 drone Zerg. Didn't take any real damage early. I wonder if do you guys think Solar was a bit greedy? GG, he gets game 1. I feel like I've got to analyze this. Because there was a point where this game just pivoted so early. If we go to 6 minutes, what is Solar's drone count? And what's his Zergling count? He has 13 Zerglings, which I think is enough to stop run-bys. I think it's really hard to do Hellion run-bys, because if you poke to this side, you got to rotate all the way up here to attack from a different angle, and it's just so easy to block on these ramps. I think it's just hard to do damage with Hellion Banshee. I think perhaps Hellion Banshee is the weaker opening on this map. I think maybe this is a better map for a 3cc 2-1-1, where you get the Stim Marines in much earlier. Because the Hellion Banshee, even though he obviously thought, oh, well, I just won't go cloak, but he threw away a Banshee as well, which just made this so much easier for Solar. And it felt like he just didn't do enough damage, right? And Solar's just in an amazing position this early. Keep in mind, BYUN's not cut worker production. So like I said, Maru, who's very good at timing attacking players, if he was to see Solar do this build 10 games in a row or something, I guarantee you, Maru would just do like a super committed timing. Get these Marines out a little bit earlier. I think also you want to try and pick up these tanks. Does he pick up the tanks with the medevacs? He does, right? I think he boosts the medevacs forward and kind of arrives with everything. He hits just after 7 minutes, which is normally a good timing. I normally say you should have 1-1 stim shields, about 24 Marines, 2 siege tanks, and this push is like the best way to kill Hydraling Bane because it's meant to hit before the Hydra have 1-1, which I think the 1-1's not quite done. He pushes in deep. Like, this is meant to be the timing that beats this. And Solar's on 82 workers. I think Solar just got away with way too much greed. Essentially, I think that there's the fact that he loses this fight this early. Like, obviously, the Ling flank is excellent for Solar. And maybe he should have left like a Hellbat or a few Marines guarding that tank. Definitely should have. But damn, dude. The Hydras have groove spines. They come out with the Queens. The Queen transfuses on those Hydras are really nice. The tanks both die so quickly. Maybe he should have pushed from this angle, guys. What do you think? Tank here, tank here? I think that might be the better way to poke in, potentially. Either way, that's a really tough one, dude, because at this point, it's game over. He's on 82 workers. Like, what can you do here as BYUN? Maybe it's not technically game over. If he keeps building tanks, he could probably turtle it out, but he's trying to play like a more standard style, mix in Widow Mines. This is like awfully difficult for him, dude. This is, I mean, it's a good Zerg map. And I think he just got away with a slightly advantaged opening. One last thing I'll check. If we go to like 4:45 minutes, are there no Lings out? Let's check. So he's got 3 Zerglings and then 9. He has 9 Lings already. When the 5th and 6th Hellions just popped. So even if the Hellions dove past the Queens, they would have been dealing with 13 Zerglings by the time they got here, because 4 more... No, there's no opening. Solar didn't cut any crazy corners. He delayed his spores a decent amount, but like I think that's totally justified considering he saw it was a 3rd command center. Nah, this is just sick play for Solar. Really good defense. BYUN didn't get enough damage with the Hellion Banshee, and he pushed with his tanks a little bit too far forward. All right, guys. BYUN down here in the bottom left of White Rabbit. Solar in the top right with an excellent Hydra build. Interesting that we're playing White Rabbit. Not going to lie, guys, this is a map that I thought was Terran favored because the pushing through the middle is so good, but I have seen Raynor maul Clem so many times on this map and a bunch of other players that I don't really think this map is super Terran favored anymore. Is the middle of the map annoying? Yes, but the base is quite spread. Also, yes, which means Zerg can kind of pick you apart a little. Plenty of counterattack paths and flanking paths down the flanks. It's not that short a rush distance. I don't know. I think this map's perfectly fine. I do wonder if Solar tries to play maybe his fast muta build I think he likes on this map. And Solar's not the type to normally repeat that sort of Hydra opening multiple times in a row. The criticism I didn't really get to elucidate too much in that last game is if you try to go 6 gas, rush your Hydras, and then go back sideways into Ling Bane, it can be hard to get up your 4th and 5th hatchery and enough production to make a decent amount of Ling Bane. And the way Hydras work is they kind of form like a concave, a battle line, which works really well with Fungal, where you catch Marines and shoot them down from out of range of your Hydras, especially if your opponent's pushing with tanks. Say they're pushing down this right side, you intercept them in the open and land Fungals on them in the open. Hydras can do really well. So that's why Infesta Hydra with a really high gas style works like such a good combo. Even if you just get 2 to 4 Infestors, amazing. And then you can go up to Hive and Ling Bane and all that sort of stuff, or even go straight Lurkers off the back of it. Solar's style rushes to Ling Bane afterwards, which gives you such a nice transition to that Hive stage of the game, where suddenly you've got this hyper-mobile Hydra Ling Bane Viper army. The problem I've stated with that style, that Ling Bane transition is, in the early stage of the Ling Bane transition, we see this with Roach into Ling Bane as well, is you don't have enough Ling Bane to really threaten. So the Marines can gun down all the Lings and Banes, and they get stuck behind the Hydras, and they just don't get on top of the Marines quickly enough to be effective. So I always feel like going for Ling Bane that early, there's a window there where you are quite vulnerable to Terran pushes. That last game, we didn't see it at all. Obviously, he just crushed the first push, just basically with Hydras and a handful of Zerglings, even before 1-1 finished, even before that Ling Bane transition was really underway. And it didn't really matter, because from there it was super easy. But that's the criticism that I've talked about, that I guarantee you guys like Maru will be aware of. And whether it's just speeding up the 2-tank push or doing an even faster, like 4 to 6 siege tank push a little bit later, when there's like a medium amount of Ling Bane out, but, you know, not enough to swarm over his Marines yet, then that could be a really big issue. Chat's all discussing about getting back into the game. Someone says they're Diamond 1 after 7 years, and they feel around 4.1k there's a wall where you start running into people with better mechanics. Yes, Diamond 1 is almost Masters. It's basically Masters. People at that level are really quite decent. I always say around that level, and even sometimes in Diamond 2, you'll get players where if they're not under pressure, it can almost look like a pro player's playing in terms of like the first 4 or 5 minutes of a build order, where you're like, oh damn, these guys are good. And they can even have pretty good multitasking, but you'll see massive differences depending on what situation they're playing against. Like there's lots of players who just still have no idea how to play against Sky Toss, or certain pushes they don't know how to read. Often there's big gaps in scouting knowledge, like they won't really understand the other races that well. And it varies player to player, but you start to see like really interesting differentiation between the players around that 4,000 MMR, high diamond, low masters sort of range, where the players can be exceptionally good at a pretty big wide variety of things. And kind of shocks me sometimes, because I'm like, I'll look at parts of their game, I'll be like, this guy looks like a friggin' Masters 1, like, or a GM, this is crazy. But then he'll run into something he doesn't know what to do, and you'll see the classic thing, right? All of us really good in situations where we always know what to do next, and then you get in an unfamiliar new situation, and you're like, you freeze up, and you're like, oh, okay. Now I see why we're stuck at whatever MMR we're at. So there's so many different situations to understand in StarCraft. Now, guys, this is a double gas, very quick Hellion Banshee. Normally, you dive the first 4 Hellions. He does not want to let Solar be greedy. BYUN's going to get in there. He's going to get this Creep Tumor. I mean, that's not the big thing. He wants drones. He gets the Creep Tumor for free. 4 Queens already here. This is bad. BYUN's got to go, or he's got to pull out, and he's going to get shut down. Doesn't lose any Hellions, though. Solar maybe could have focused that with one of those Queens. Oh, he goes and gets 2 of the Hellions. I was like, what's Solar doing chasing so far? He just wanted to finish the Reddit point Hellions, and that's it. Terrible start for BYUN, guys. Terrible start. Solar is so good at shutting down this opening. Clem's done it to him a bunch of times. Maru used to do a lot of tricky, aggressive openings as well. Solar is so good at shutting down aggro play, but he's forgotten his spores. What is he? Is he not looking? There's a Banshee there. He only now starts the spore. This Banshee can cloak and fly right in there. Dude, and spores build so fast. It's actually insane. 21 seconds is such a fast build time. But look at that. That was really late on that Spore. He's going to try and transfuse a few of these drones. It will delay like one extra hit from the Banshee is all. And, ooh, doesn't want to get hit as that Spore finishes. This Spore still isn't done. Dude, how greedy do you want to be, Solar? Guys, there's limits to how greedy you can be. Did he just think it was a cloakless Banshee and wanted to, like, call BYUN's bluff? Expecting BYUN to skip cloak 2 games in a row is actually insane. That Banshee, I think, dies there. I'm pretty sure if you send a Queen to both sides as it runs out of energy. Hellions are on the front, and there's actually enough Zerglings to probably stop that. Banshee does go down there. Double Evo goes down behind the third. I don't like this Evo chamber placement, guys. It's a nice little corner where if Marines drop back there, that you can't get to them. Also hard to move your Queens behind to defend Libs and Banshees and Battle Cruisers. Does it really matter? Most of the time, no, but the reason he builds it there is because his third is where he had an excess of drones, because all of his hatcheries are rallied there, so he's just trying to be efficient on his money. He doesn't want to like run drones from a different base where you see this one doesn't have excess workers, this one doesn't have excess workers, so he doesn't want to pull those off to build buildings. Ooh, Hellions are going to get the Queen, and the Banshee survives. Very slick play there. BYUN's now got his third finished, 5 barracks. Was that enough damage? My instincts say no, but, and it's actually Hydras again. I mean, Solar has a massive worker advantage. Oh, that's good for Solar if he can get more. Clumping on the corner is very dangerous, though. But, see how it goes. Hellions do push back the Zerglings, but a few of them go down, which means not many Hellbats with the follow-up. Second tank's building. Is he going to do a 2-tank push again? If he does, guys, does he just put a tank there? And then maybe a tank there? And then pushes with the Marines in the middle? Because that's hard to deal with. You'll have to leave some units, like a Hellbat or 2 or a few Marines guarding the tanks. But yeah, we've been talking about this being the counter to the Hydra style for a while. This time, Solar's a little slower to 1-1 and groove spines, and more importantly, the push angle. Remember, his tanks were way too far forward in game 1. BYUN's going to correct that this time. 1-1, stim, shields, all going to be done. And he will have 23 Marines on the map. Not all of them at the front, though. I think he should try to rally these Marines forward. Solar's famous for not counterattacking with Zerglings, like almost ever. So I think just whatever's popping out of your barracks could deal with it. Tank positioning very safe. Does leave the Hellions to guard the siege tank in the rear. 1-1 not quite done. Groove Spines is ready though. Hatchery's already very damaged. I like that he didn't stim his Marines there. Now he stims. The Hydras are coming in deep. The Hellions not. He didn't leave enough to guard his tanks. Tank goes down to a few Zerglings. Yeah, again, BYUN making the same mistake as last time and not rallying these Marines. One has to be critical of this. If he just put a Marine spotter in the middle or a depot or SCV, something to see the run by, like if he puts like maybe a depot out here as well, he could have seen run bys coming. I really think you got to commit more to that push. Losing tanks is crucial because now he's only got 1. And the tanks is what give you the ranged firepower advantage. Now Solar, yes, his worker count's not as high as last time. He did have to build units faster, but he's going into Baneling's Infestation Pit. He's on 7 gases. Trying to go straight into Ling Bane without Infestors, I do think is a little dicey, but with that first fight going so well for him, he's feeling okay. The problem is Bane speed's still 40 seconds away. I think Solar should think about giving up this left base and just transferring to the right. Because he's got to wait until he has a massive Ling Bane. Remember what I said? You can't go in with just a handful of Ling Bane. You got to go in with a lot all at once. He didn't morph Hellbats. I'm not sure if the armory was ready. Oh my god, BYUN leaves his tank in the open! BYUN, what are we doing, mate? BYUN's really, really sloppy today, guys. He doesn't even have a tank on the high ground, and this is a disaster for BYUN. Solar doing really amazing with these. Don't get me wrong, Solar's early game solid, and the Hydra transition is one of the best because a lot of Terrans rely on Widow Mines. Widow Mines just don't do well against this Hydra style, which is why you see Terrans feeling forced to play tanks. That's actually insane, man. Marines are going to stim in the right side, though. Okay, BYUN finds an opening. It is a nice double drop. He's going to kill the 5th hatchery. These Marines got to be careful, though. Running into Hydra's very expensive. He does kill the hatchery on the right side and saves most of the Marines. Only loses 2. Not too bad. Marines over here. Going to try and pull away. Doesn't get rid of the creep tumors. Oh, and he stays a bit too long. Ah, he loses 1 Marine with 4. 1 medevac with 4 Marines inside. Hives on the way and a Lurkaden. Building tanks now is BYUN. I'd like to see him, honestly, build double tank. Yeah, this is way better. Remember last game he tried to go reactor and Widow Mines? This time he's going to go double tank production. He does need to keep building tanks, though. There we go. Now, this style is really weak to Broodlords, but you guys have watched my casts of Raynor and Solar against guys like BYUN over the years, and they always struggle to finish BYUN off when BYUN builds siege tanks, and they just refuse to build Broodlords until they lose like 20 attacks in a row. So Is Solar ahead? Yeah. Is he in a massive position? Yeah. Is it going to be hard to defend these 4 bases? Of course. But if you can kind of spread tanks across this whole area, start to maybe throw a few buildings in front to obstruct, get a planetary up here, I think it is going to be hard for Solar to crack through a defensive tank position unless he goes for Broodlords. Good scan. Just keeping this ledge as sort of a dangerous area for Zerg. It's very nicely done. Vipers are in the way for Blinding Cloud and Parasitic Bomb. Frenzy for the Hydras. +2 melee, +2 range. Actually going +2 attacks on both rather than +3 Carapace. Maybe he thinks +3 is a bit too expensive right now, and that's fair enough. 85 workers for Zerg. 72 for Terran. Planetary will get erected in the middle of the map. He's also got a Marauder starting. He's got 3 more barracks he needs to build tech labs on. Because getting a few more Marauders out is going to beef up his army. A little bit of a supply block beyond. You can see trying to build these little semi-walls to buy time. Looks like Enki was lagging. We had to drop him out, guys. But that's okay. I'm casting this one off replays after the fact. Oh. Okay, barely saves them. Good job, good job. Solar's got map control. What's he going to do with it, guys? He's got this Lurker tech coming in now. The Seismic Spines, that's +2 range on Lurkers. But he's been very defensive, right? I think Solar could use a few more Overlords on the edges to spot these incoming drops. He does have Overlord speed, so I think that's something he probably should have done a little while ago. And this middle area is really bad to fight for Zerg, because it creates like a one-directional sort of choke point. That being said, there's not that many siege tanks. They're a little clumped for Blinding Clouds as well. Good pullback there. Good save for BYUN. 3 3s on the way for him, as well as +2 vehicle weapons. He's going to have a very nice mass marine tank window. Hydraling Bane should be going around. Honestly, I think Solar should grab 2/3 of this army, rotate around the right, and try to run in from this angle and either blow up that planetary or run up into the production. But I think if he fights in this channel, that's going to give BYUN exactly what he wants. Like, you want to be willing to give up this middle base. This middle base is trash as Zerg because it funnels you into bad fights. Beautiful defensive setup for BYUN. You cannot fight into that. Tanks of Marines and a sensor tower. BYUN, he's trying to get back in this game. I feel like he's got a very short-term army, but he's building 3 more command centers. He's building a Ghost Academy. Vipers, thinking about coming down. There's no answer to these Vipers, but he can't abduct the siege tanks. And Solar's going to go for a push, but this doesn't make any sense because his armies are going to choke up here. Like, these guys look spread out, but they're all going to clump up in this same area. BYUN is pushing into the open a bit too deep, though. Solar comes in, but these guys don't flank. He F2s them, but they're going to come around the corner. Some of the Hydras do take out that siege tank, luckily for him. But as you can see, these tanks that are a bit further back easily should hold. No, he's just too outnumbered. It doesn't matter. Solar was far enough ahead. He just gets to roll him anyway. BYUN had a lot of Marines on that left side. He didn't have all of his tanks here either. And he's going to be able to push him back. Dude, the Marine counter, though. BYUN's answer, as always, triple stim across the map, snipe the hatchery, and then get out of there. Good move. Really good move. Saves most of the Marines. Will pull them away. It's not amazing trading for BYUN, but it's decent enough. He's got Ghost coming out and Marauders now. He did make Concussive. He's got 3-3. 3-3 melee Carapace is now starting for Zerg, but it's not there just yet. He's going to go to the corner. If he wants to get rid of that, you'll have to send the Vipers to deal with it, which is kind of annoying. Vipers actually don't have much energy right now. Looks like he didn't consume. Creep's trying to respawn. I'd love to see Solar split 2/3 of his army and loop around this right side, guys. I think this base is easy pickings. He could even run through from the back, blow this up. The tank's not going to cover it. He's doing a good job of defending the drop. But Solar's being very kind of passive right now. He's got 5,000 minerals, 3,000 gas, and I kind of question what the plan is. Okay, it looks like he's going to go down this left side. Big wall off of command centers trying to build, but they are juicy targets to take down. Blinding Cloud could be nice on the tank. Vipers are going to get sniped there by the Ghost, or at least one of them is. The Marine Bio Ghost trying to pull over here, but he can't get in, and Solar realizes this is not the best angle. Solar absolutely needs to split 2/3 of his army around that right side, because he's letting BYUN expand on the right for free right now, and that's very dangerous. Spire finally comes in. I think he realizes, hey, this guy's been building nothing but tanks for the last 8 minutes, so he might actually be going for Broodlords at a decent timing. As I said, you got to realize early on, the moment you see he's got a tech lab on this factory out front or whatever, you know, you're like, okay, he's building double tank. The moment that Marine tank push was coming through the middle, you should already be thinking about Spire, especially when you're as rich as Solar. But this is one of those big deficiencies where for so many years, Zergs have just thought of Broodlords as being bad units. And it's a real hole in the problem-solving kind of thought box. Oh, he's going to attack in here. Bit of a crazy attack angle. Wow, he's going to go for the planetary. Hydras are getting rinsed. He gets the planetary, gets out, but that is an expensive trade. The Lings actually killed a lot of SCVs down here, so I think these Ling trade was good. But yeah, 64 workers versus 82. Units lost to have 4,000 in favor of BYUN. BYUN's going to try and counter push the middle. Will the Remax get there in time? There's 5 lurkers out. Nidus Worm's trying to go down in this bottom right side to pop those lurkers up. Lingbane could try to engage into this. It's dangerous though. BYUN not giving him time to get situated. Look at that. Those tanks loving these nasty white rabbit corners. Solar's just going to transfer to these edge bases, it looks like. He's got drones over there. You can see he's shift-clicked them. So they go to that right side. Lurkers are going to run in over here. Oh, he's trying to mass repair it, but Lurkers will shoot through the planetary and actually kill repairing SCVs as they damage it. And that's going to get rid of the planetary for certain, as long as he focuses it, right? Yeah, he should be able to get that, surely. Yep, it does go down. Nice move. Hydraling Bane runs in the left. 2 command centers going down, or at least 1 and a ton of SCVs. Solar with the quick remaxes should be able to wear him down here. He's going flyer attacks rather than Greater Spire. I still think Greater Spire is the easiest break through the middle you could ever have. If even 3 Broodlords show up, these tanks get insta-broken. But the Lings are going to try and take it on their own. Funnily enough, the Lings have very low vision, so they need to be manually told where to go there. Solar does correct that, runs them in. These tanks will friendly fire the SCVs a fair bit. A couple of the Lings going to get on top of the tank, drag some friendly fire there. So they do take out one of the siege tanks and do a bit of friendly fire to the second one. But over on this side, Blinding Cloud goes down. Once again, the SCVs in the open. Solar had such a good early game, shut down the Hellion Banshee. And I don't think we're seeing Hellion Banshee in the next game. I think BYUN's going to be going for some sort of early Marine medevac pressure or something. Something to try and get damage outside of the Hellion Banshee dichotomy, because dichotomy is not the right word, but the Hellion Banshee combo, it's just not working for him. And BYUN is on his last legs now, guys. He's got a bigger army supply, but Solar, I think, can afford to lose this base because he's got this fully mining right base. Middle base is about to be back up, and he's just got to take one good fight to finish this game. Solar should be careful. He just accidentally frenzied his Hydras. He should not jump on this just yet, I don't think. Oh, he's going to get rid of that tank. He has, I guess, Creep Tumor vision of it. What was giving him vision? Oh, no. I guess he must have shot something from the high ground. Surprised he knew that was there. Planetary's up. BYUN's going to have one last Remax in him, it feels like. But his economy, this left side open to Ling Run buys, this side open to being busted. And Solar, of course, with 85 workers, new base back up in the middle. As long as he's transferring his workers, which I think he's done a pretty damn good job of. Yeah, a really good job of. He's just looking for those nice engagements. Good Blinding Cloud there. Hydraling Bane kind of attacking around a corner a little bit. But if he gets rid of these tanks, that's a pretty valuable move. Banes go after the Marines, getting some good hits here. And of course, these Hydras going to be using that Frenzy to chase down some of these units. Frenzy's off cooldown. Might want to use it to get away now, though. Going forward's a bit crazy. He uses it to go forwards rather than backwards. Solar throws his Hydras into the meat grinder like a mad lad. Got a bit excited there. He's building a few infestors with Burrow. He's still up here fighting into these siege tanks. Solar, calm down, buddy. I mean, the Lings are getting in the back door and doing a bit of economic damage, but that was a lot of units he just chucked into the meat grinder. Solar is trying to just get rid of these tanks. He feels like if he just gets them, he can get them, but he's attacking around corners continually. And you've got to be careful attacking around corners, guys. It's really tough on this map. But this is why I'm saying you want to split your army and be coming from the sides a lot more, from two opposite sides. This is a map which is going to reward a Zerg that splits his army a lot more than one that keeps it together. Solar, as long as he defends these bases, there's way more income than BYUN. I'm just kind of shocked that this game is as close as it is with how it started and how many times he's had massive leads. The Ghosts are going to go down to the Banelings. The Tank Marine Ghost push. BYUN here trying to force a good fight. This is mostly Hydras. Infestor's no good against a mass siege tank style. Where are the Broodlords? The Ling flank finally comes in, but the Marines and the Ghosts are holding strong. Dude, this is crazy close right now. He Blinding Clouds that last tank. The Lings will clear it up, but he's going to lose his hatchery in the bottom side as well. Solar. I mean, imagine if Broodlords entered at any stage of this game. It's been 90% siege tanks for BYUN all game long. He's lost 31 siege tanks, and this is I called this early, not because I knew what happened in the game, not because I've watched it. I called the Broodlord thing. I mentioned it early on when I saw the second factory because we've seen this so many times before. Burrows to block the factory. Burrows over there as well. It's a really big blind spot. And I've mentioned how, yes, BYUN's better in macro games. He does lose the game eventually and has to tap out. He's on his last legs. It's a really big blind spot. And you got to realize sometimes BYUN looks almost as good as Maru in the late game at surviving wave after wave of Zerg from an impossible situation. And no shame on BYUN. He's a very good player, but he is no Maru. He is not that good at surviving. He does it off of one crutch. That crutch is called Mass Siege Tank. And it only works if the Zergs refuse to make a handful of Broodlords. You make 4 or 5 Broodlords there, man, that game's over 8 minutes earlier. So I'm just going to put it out there. I don't know if you guys are listening, top Zergs. If the Terran is desperately massing tanks, it's either a timing push or a desperation. I'm hoping you don't build Broodlords move. All right, guys, we got BYUN in the top left side, Solar in the bottom right. And guess what? BYUN needs to get his stuff together because this scoreboard is in opposite town. That's what the scoreboard should be. Now, to be fair, guys, BYUN, he can't be letting his... Twice now, he's let one of his first 2 tanks get surrounded by like 15, 12 Zerglings and just lose it for free. I don't know if his armory was done. It probably was. He probably could have morphed Hellbats on that rear tank on that first push, but he's just letting Solar get away with murder. And he's doing some pretty good Marine backstabs. I feel like Solar often gets ahead and then BYUN gets back in it with these crazy drops and Marine backstabs, but he's playing from such a behind position. And I think that the real thing here is the mental fortitude of Terran. When you've lost 2 games like this, because he's made a lot of good moves in the mid to late game, but he's been so far behind that it's just like, well, they don't pay off. And it's sometimes as a Terran, because you have a bit less map vision or so much is happening, you're clicking so fast, you're not thinking about the bigger picture. Sometimes Terran players will get down on themselves and they'll go, oh man, just nothing works. Like, he just A-moves me with Hydra Link Bane. Like, and even pros will feel this sometimes. I'm hoping BYUN can stay calm enough to realize that's not the case. Now, he's gone second depot behind the mineral line, which is bizarre, not going to lie. Looks like someone else had to pause there. Solar before the unpause. And then he sends a second SCV to build the factory. Okay. Odd build order for BYUN. I just don't know why he built the depot there. He didn't need it that fast, did he? Yeah. Oh, he could have had it like 8 seconds later and it wouldn't have supply blocked him. But, yeah, whatever. I guess he just builds... Is he going to build the reactor in the wall off, is he? Ah, and he's building a second Marine in case Zerglings arrive. I think he cancels that, builds the reactor now that he sees no Zerglings and sees a normal hatch first timing. I don't like the reactor in the wall off. I think it's fine, especially on this map spawn. Just to me, I love my double depot plus reactor so they can Bane bust it and get extra value. 3 buildings for like 4 or 5 Banelings. Probably a good idea to do this wall off, actually, isn't it? I don't know. I'm stuck. I like having the ability to move both ways around my barracks, but yeah, how often does that matter? Third command center comes up as well. Didn't BYUN used to just proxy racks 2 racks every game for years? He used to do proxy Reaper or just 3 racks Reaper, but they nerfed Reapers twice because of BYUN. Maru spammed proxy barracks Marine a lot more than he did, the 2 racks Marine push. BYUN did it sometimes, and BYUN will still proxy 2 racks Reaper against Terran. Occasionally against Zerg, not very often though. But he is one of these players who likes to win with his clicks, his tiny little micro edges. We used to call Clem Baby BYUN, you know, because it really felt like the foreign scene created Rainer, which was just a young Italian dark, crazy aggressive, loved to do ling run buys, loved to mix in some dirty all-ins. And then we had Clem, Terran, just like BYUN, who loved to just click his units in, micro Marines and drops all day, and way better on the offense than the defense. Alien Reaper intercepts the Zergling Scout. There's actually 2 Overlords in position. And it's a Raven opening. So Raven opening is the worst opening you can do in this matchup. Maru will occasionally do it once every 50 games when he feels like losing. It's obviously not the end of the world. Like, you can use it to spot creep tumors for free. The problem is it's so slow. And, oh, he's getting Nidus Queen Ling all-in. Oh, no. Raven will not help against that at all. So basically, there's going to be a Nidus in the back. Luckily for BYUN, he actually has full vision of his main with this command center placement. Command centers have quite a lot of vision. Raven's going to go out there, sees a bunch of Lings outside the base, which is already a little bit sus. Those Lings are going to run away having been spotted, but he's going to see more Lings on the map. If he can surround the Hellions, though, this would be great. It's a big if, though. Oh, can he get him? He gets a Hellion. That's a good start. Does BYUN Spidey sense tingle? That Nidus Worm could go up any moment now. Here we go. Nidus Worm's finished. Moves in, and he's going to place it. It's in vision. Let's go to BYUN's camera. BYUN sees some Lings coming in, trying to distract him. He's already moved his Marines to respond. He does clean up those Zergs. He's got to pull the SCVs as well. He cannot let that Nidus, man. But he's a bit slow to pull units. Okay, he's going to target the Nidus first. He's got to kill the Nidus. If the Queens get out, they can transfuse. But the SCVs blocked them, so they were off creep, and they couldn't instantly transfuse. Oh, Solar's going to be so triggered by that. So triggered by that. He would have been able to transfuse that and then start popping Lings out. I don't know if it would have been enough because there are a lot of Marines, SCVs, and Hellions, but that's really unfortunate. The Queen could not get out to transfuse. Lings are surrounding the SCVs on the low ground. But yeah, that's crazy. I've never seen a Queen pop out and not be able to instantly transfuse until that moment. But that is it, man. That is the hold. 11 workers go down, which is perfectly fine. I mean, this isn't perfectly fine. He goes for the double auto turret to make sure he can't get in there. And the siege tank will siege, which will shut down any future Nidus worms. Okay, BYUN holds. He's got a third command center. He's got Stim. And 3 Marines building at a time. He's going to go double eBay for upgrades and then medevacs to make sure he goes to the next step. So he's just trying to get all the pieces of a normal game going again. Continue building SCVs. Keep the Marines and the Raven at home. The tank and the Hydra and the Hellions don't want to go out because otherwise the Lings could flood in. He needs the Hellions to be able to be microed against that. 4th hatchery goes down to the right. Can he just leave? Enki lagging really bad this week. But BYUN's just like, can we just... Soul's like, can we get him out of here, man? You already lagged to the previous game. It happens. Sometimes you don't know if your internet's going to behave or not, right? Wings rotating to the left. Yeah, the SCV surround meant there wasn't space for the Queens to pop, so they had to spawn a little bit further away. And when they popped out of the Nidus, and that's why they couldn't transfuse, yeah. Is this live? It's about as live as your friggin' mum's face is the poo-poo on your family's head. Friggin' Twitch chat. Yeah, it's actually such a meme now. Is this live? And like, it's a live stream! What's the first half of live stream? And they're like, oh no, I'm encouraging it, aren't I? 4th and 5th barracks is on the way as well as the armory there. 1-1 upgrades are coming in as well. Failing speed's coming in. This is, of course, a replay from last week's Pigstarcraft semis, guys. Wanted to see what happened here because I haven't actually casted BYUN Solar series in a few weeks, and they always have such good games, but feels like Solar's been kind of mauling BYUN. This is the first game where BYUN's actually had a more playable position. He's going to do the 2 tank push. This time, though, it is 5 gas Ling Bane. 33 Lings, 8 Banes. Bane speed's still 30 seconds out, though. 40 seconds even. Oh, okay, at least the tank siege far away. This is good for Solar. It buys him time, and I think Ling counter is the perfect choice. Try to get in. If he can surround these Marines, he can maybe do some good damage. But actually, he's setting up for a flank. BYUN's done a really bad job of guarding his siege tanks so far. So he wants to take advantage. Raven's going to try and do something. Look at him. He's like, oh, I got 2 drones. I'm a Raven. Look at me. Look at me. I'm a Raven. Such a useful unit, isn't it, guys? Super worth building in this matchup. People will be like, why doesn't he just bring it here? Why is he scanning? The problem is if he flies it in, the Queens just push it back so quickly. Nice Ling flank. The Marines get trapped. Ooh, he saves most of the Marines, but not all of them. The Ling Bane goes after the Alien Marine. I thought he could have continued onto those units, honestly, and made him fully pick up, but he pulls back for now. The Raven's back with another auto turret. This time it doesn't get focused on the drones until a bit too late. Only gets one of them. And I guess that Raven's just going to keep doing that to distract him. Now, there is a 4th command center building. But honestly, the fact that Solar's only... He's not behind on workers, and he's about to tie up the upgrades 1-to-1, at least momentarily. I mean, Solar's not that far behind. If he could get one really good fight, he could get back in this game. Bane's blow up on the Hellbats, which is cost efficient for BYUN, but at least you got rid of the Hellbat problem. And he's got a respread creep on this side. He's got a 5th base up in case he loses the 4th. Oh, trying to get into Hydras as well, which is really impressive. Getting a few Hydras out would be massive because BYUN's going to feel like he can go Widowmines this game because he's not playing against Hydras. But he will run into the delayed Hydras. It's a Massling Bane style with a handful of Hydras to support it. 5 more drones trying to be squeezed out. After failing a Nidus Ling all-in, you're not meant to be in this good of a position as Solar, but Solar, he really is playing, like, his Hydra builds have just been excellent. Even here, playing Ling Bane first, just to make sure he survives, because he was behind, and then going Hydras and a quick Hive. Not crazy quick on the timer, but compared to where both players are, it's a well-timed Hive. Only 1 tank. He's going to branch forward to the Marines, clear the creep. Raven doesn't feel like coming over to clear those creep trimmers because it can't keep up with the pace of this army. If you wait for the Raven, you give the Zerg so much time to get in position. That's the big problem. Oh, that's finally cleared up. Lings are ready to counter, but he's got the Marines ready to guard the tank at least a little bit. This feels like a small army for BYUN, though, out in no man's land. Guess he just abandons the tank. The Marines get surrounded on the north. He's got to pick up and leave, man. He waits to the very last second, does lose quite a few Marines, and One has to feel pretty good about that as Solar. He's still down 2,300 in the resources lost, though, and now the Biomine multi-prong starts. Not to mention the auto turrets are just going to fight the Zerglings. Doesn't even focus the drones there. Gets a few of them, not the most effective. A Marine Mine on the right side. This is always where Solar struggles, is his whole army's on one side trying to defend desperately, and then BYUN just says, you're out of position for a few seconds. I'm going to punish that. Hydra's helping out so much here. I don't know if it's enough, though. There's so many Marines left over. Barely enough to defend that, and gets rid of one of the medevacs. Almost, not quite. Fifth and sixth command center are going up. Planetary as well. BYUN's on 81 workers. He's finally transferring workers out of that third that was quite oversaturated, as is his natural. He did forget +2 attack for a few seconds, but it's going to kick in now. Viper's on the way for Solar. He's still on 5 bases. He's up in supply. Obviously, the upgrades are dangerous, but his own 2-2's about to kick in. Solar. Dude, if he gets a pack of lurkers out, I think this game might be very playable for him. BYUN has got to find a way to lean on him. I'd love to see the Raven join the front army and him actually drop this backside with Medevac Marine instead. Watch out for the Banes, bro. Okay, Banes don't get the biggest connections. Just a couple of Marines go down. That's fine. Top side, Medevac gets focused. BYUN focuses a few Banelings, but that means he gets trapped by these Zerglings. That's a big win for Solar. Dude, Solar's got control of the top right now. He can keep spreading creep. He's going to go take the top right corner base. He's got Lurker range, Frenzy, Adrenal Glands. Dude, this is a version of Solar we've been fearful of for a while. This is a very scary version of Solar. BYUN, on the other hand, is going to go for the accidental command center lift. Oh no, and the SCVs block them from landing. Oh my god, SCVs are all going walkabout. What is this? BYUN, you gotta calm down, mate. He's running into the brick wall that is Solar, and you can feel him losing confidence. He's like, I'm meant to be ahead. I held you all in. And Solar's like, eat my balls, mate. You still need to finish me off. Raven's still in the back. Does have 10 kills. A lot of those are Zerglings. Hydroling Bane's here ready as well. Solar is all over this game, and it feels like BYUN's running out of steam. He's got 2 more orbitals. He's going to go range libs now. He's got 4 libs building. He has 3 starports and no fusion core. What? He's not even going range libs? Just regular libs? With no attack upgrades either, just armor, which to be fair is probably the more important upgrade against Zerg, since you're going to always 2-shot Hydras and always 1-shot Ling Bane no matter what the upgrades are. But very odd to be going 3-port lib with no fusion core. Libs are really good against Hydras though, but Vipers can be good as well. Solar's now got a lead off of a terrible start for him. A failed Nidus Queenling all in where he couldn't get the transfuse off. BYUN trying to push forward there. He's going to sneak by with the drop. Good move. Viper should parasitic bomb this. He's not watching though. Oh, he's a bit slow on it. He should parasitic bomb this one. Parasitic bombs the healthy medevac, which will survive. Bad call. Bad call. Well, I guess he gets it because the Hydras get a few shots off. Viper's going to gather energy and then get this one as well. Once it hits 125 energy, you are dead zones. Remember, it does 120 damage. Costs 125 energy to cast. BYUN should really be flying away and at least hiding this in the corner or something. BYUN, he's gone for 4 Liberators now that he's going to go kill an Overlord with. He's building 4 more men. Like, what is this style? There's no ghosts. Fusion Core only now starts. I gotta say, BYUN looks a bit mentally broken after losing these tanks. Solar has dismantled his pushes. And remember what I said about confidence at the start of this game? Yeah, and now he's going to lose this drop. Like, it just doesn't feel like BYUN has confidence. It feels like he's doubting what the next step should be, and he's actively wondering, what should I do? This guy is impossible to kill. Looks like those last units get cleaned up. Do upgrades impact the Liberator attack? I thought Siege attack was a spell. No, it's a normal attack. Yeah, it's not actually a spell. Does I think it's 75 damage base, and then it's +5 for each one. So if you get +3, it does 90 damage. Same amount of hit points a Hydra has, but because the Hydra has armor upgrades, by the time you hit +3, you'll never one-shot it. They used to one-shot Hydras before Hydras got changed from 80 to 90 hit points a few years ago. Lib range, vehicle bending. He's got mass command center on the way, no ghost. He's just playing Biolib, which is actually one of my favorite comps against Zerg because it's pretty easy to use. I do like Biolib, but 2 of these libs on the left side not really engaging in this fight. Can the Marine Marauder hold off the Ling Bane advance? The Hydras are going to lunge forward, take out a few of these medevacs, gets in there before the Planetary is ready. As long as he kills this lib and runs away, this has been a really good fight, I think, for Solar. He's got to get out of there now, though. And I think, where is the Viper? Viper's full on energy. If he can gather the Viper and get some parasitic bombs, I think a second Viper would be good as well. Or some abducts on the libs. If you have 3 Vipers, you can abduct 6 Liberators at the start of a fight. Pulls them forwards out of siege mode. Really messes them up, which is great. Triple drop goes to the left side as well. Ling Hydra hanging out over here. Sol is all over this game. He's got the bank. BYUN, he's got his 5th base up. But he's got to find a way to hang on. He's just playing a pretty low tier army. Because there's like 3 Lurkers, no Ultras, no Broods, only 1 Viper. He doesn't really need Ghosts just yet, but dangerous to not prepare that. Parasitic Bomb goes down. Ling Bane Hydra trying to roll forward. BYUN's going to counterattack rather than focusing on defending. That means these Banelings are going to get big damage on these SCVs. And that Planetary will get taken down. The Ling Bane is there. Meanwhile, counterattack goes in for BYUN. BYUN getting mauled in this game right now on many fronts, despite having a good start. But if he can get some damage here, start to disrupt Solar, push this creep back that's all the way in the middle of the map, gets rid of those queens. Going to pick up and leave. It's a bit long, but that's okay. Only loses 1 extra Marine there. 23 SCVs went down. He can float a new command center down. BYUN's got enough orbitals. This is not that big of a deal just yet. He's got 7 orbitals. He's going for Caduceus Reactor. He's already got lib range now. The drop gets pushed back on that side, but it's the empty medevac that goes down. These guys can unload and find more damage. He's going to shove deep on creep. This is a crazy push for BYUN. He's only got a handful of Marine Marauder guarding this. The Hydras are going to flank around. As long as they move north out of those lib zones, they could do really well, but a couple of the Hydras accidentally stay in the lib zones, which means they struggle. The Bio trying to move around. These Hydras need to shift-click these libs. They're not really doing that just yet. Drop goes into the natural. No, those are changelings. Looks like the Viper did clean up the other drop, and BYUN just impaling himself into the meat grinder right now. And he's in big trubs, man. I think Solar has found a way, even against the 7 orbitals, to just finish this off. Now, these libs, of course, do have lib range. Like I said, they siege a bit close there than they need to. They do deny mining. Double drop or triple drop goes on top of the Lurkers, which pop out of the Nidus and deal with that. The Bio trying to defend this orbital. If BYUN can't defend this base, Solar might be able to just maul him. Luckily, these are mules, not SCVs, which means they are timed life units. Not as bad as losing SCVs generally, since you can just make more of them. I keep thinking this is a drop, but it's not. But Solar lost mining here. He's only just transferring it here. This base isn't mining. His income is actually down on BYUN's right now. BYUN has extra income. Remember, this is a really abusive spot. Luckily, BYUN sieged his lib too close, which means the Hydras can reach it. Normally, you can't reach that, even if they don't have range. Libs are going to siege up, try and take out some Hydras and Lurkers here. Corruptors are finally building. Corruptors are the answer to the Liberator. These libs going down, though, to just the mass Hydra is enough. Solar, he's down 5,000 in the resource trading, but you got to keep in mind he was behind earlier in the game, which gave BYUN enough time to make mass orbital. He's got lots of mules dropping. He's got good mineral income. He's going to try and just push through. Remember, Solar's had a big dearth in his income. He's back up now, but he needs this top right base to keep this income advantage going. He's trying to morph these new Lurkers and Corruptors, which is really good against this army, by the way. Lurker Corruptor, you would think on paper beats this army, but he's lost a lot of Lurkers before they finished morphing, and those Corruptors need to be sniping these libs. Otherwise, the Lurkers are going to have trouble. Parasitic Bombs could be really nice as well. Hydra's got to be careful about venturing into these zones. There's almost nothing that shoots up there, just a few Marines. I think the Corruptors could just A-move, honestly, and tank the Marine fire. Even though they are +3 Marines, there's not that many of them, but the Lurkers are getting pushed back. This lib push is scary. Parasitic Bomb and the Medevacs. BYUN, he had a good lead early. He fell behind, but now he is pushing with just massive determination. So many Marauders, so many libs. And I think Solar might have to give this top right base up. This corner's just so hard to defend. The lib bio mine parade is endless. BYUN doesn't have a lot of money in the bank. He's down in supply right now, but he's getting on top of the base. The last Lurker's getting cleared. They do get taken out. The Banelings trying to morph. They're not ready in time. Solar has committed everything to defending this base. The Corruptors will start taking out the Medevacs and the Libs, but he's only taking them out after already losing everything else on that base. Hydraling trying to rebuild. The Corruptors just took some Widow Mines. Only 3 Corruptors left. The Marine wants to kill that Corruptor on the red hit point so badly. Not going to be able to get it. And BYUN, interestingly, he's going to the middle now. There's so much creep out here. He wants to clear this middle creep a bit, get rid of Solar's map control. Does finally send a few Marauders back to get rid of the hatchery. I thought it was odd that he let that live. Libs fighting Corruptors in anti-air mode is always hilarious. They do almost no damage. Gets himself a Hydra, picks up, pulls back. BYUN's going to move down to this base. Still got those 7 orbitals. Nidus for the block. I love that. It's very... He's just like, screw you. You can't land here. Okay, I'd love to see Lurkers rotate around and start harassing some of these bases, maybe? Yeah, maybe Solar can't afford that, though. He doesn't really have the money. Here we go. Biomine Lib coming forward, but a few of the Libs do get caught. The Corruptors aren't going in, though, and the Hydras are getting stuck on the corner. The Corruptors are running away from those exposed Libs. The Lings run in and get themselves killed. Very sloppy engagement here for Solar. Where are the Abducts on these Libs, man? These Libs are getting a lot of damage out. Abducts are so good on those units. Parasitic Bombs on the Medivacs, I think, is what he's looking for. The Viper Corruptors should be getting insane value against this comp. And honestly, at this point, there's a lot of Lurkers, there's a lot of Corruptors, there's a lot of Vipers. The answer is Ghosts. BYUN says Ghosts are for cucks and tryhards. I like the Ghost Academy, but it's just to look at because it's a pretty building. You can see it rotates while going up and down a little bit. Funnily enough, that's my own special time technique. You can see that the 2 rings, that's the 2 hands, and the double pump, they call it. Anyways, Nidus in the top right side is going to pop out a few Lurkers, but he's got to be careful. You don't want to throw these away. Remember, Solar does not have a massive amount of money. BYUN's income isn't that big, but whenever he drops mules, it does pump up pretty quickly. The Lurkers are going to get jumped on. Solar gets caught out. 2 Lurkers do go down. Lovely hold there for BYUN. Meanwhile, on the left side, Corruptors come forward. The Bio is going to try to defend. The Medivacs do pull back. And the Ling Lurker for Solar, not quite able to break this position. He's going to go forwards again. Got to be careful running in, though. Hydra Ling Corruptor, Lurker Ling Corruptor Viper, doing what it can. Bio SCV trying to survive. Planetary comes up on this side as well. Caustic Spray. Going to be a nice way to siege the Planetary, but he cancels it. It's a bit exposed for those Corruptors to go that far forward. Bio moving down the right side. A lot of workers on both gases. Oh, he's going to go for it! Solar gets jumped on by the Libs. He's trying to engage. Good abduct on some of the Libs, but he's got to kill them. Solar's Corruptor control has been really sloppy because he's using them on the same control group as Vipers are on it, and you can tell he keeps controlling them as if they're Vipers, whereas he's not killing the Libs nearly as quickly as he should be. These Libs are so exposed, there's nothing that shoots up. There's 3 Marines. The Widow Mines have already fired, and yet he's leaving these Libs up, and it's a big mistake. BYUN is pulling him around in circles here. The triple drop does go past. The Lings will get on top of that. Thankfully, the minerals have exhausted, so there's nowhere to hide behind. But this is a really... I think his Corruptor usage has been a little lacking. A lot of his Lurkers got busted there. And the Bio army coming down. It's Bio Mine tanks getting at it as well. If he denies these bases, it's lights out for Solar, who's already down 15 army supply. Widow Mines getting a bit of friendly fire there, as well as a bunch of Zerglings, both going down. Big Widow Mine there on the Overseer and the Zerglings. The Bio trying to pull back. BYUN getting pushed away from this position. At the same time, the Corruptors finally clean up the drop on the right side, which is a massive victory for Solar. Once again, BYUN's drops hanging around way too deep in the Zerg territory. BYUN, as he found his confidence after a very lackluster early mid-game, I think he may have, he's just said, I will lean on you with Bio, Mine, Lib, and Tempo. And that's a really good pushing style. This used to be the style that Maru and a lot of other Terrans used in early Legacy of the Void. It was, I'm just going to overwhelm you with Bio Lib. And it's a really hard style to deal with. But we just don't see it as much anymore. Cool to see BYUN bringing it back here. 11 Medivacs are out. Parasitic Bomb does go down. Lingbane, Corruptor Viper trying to pull back. The hatchery in the corner has fallen. He lost his top right corner already. This is Solar's last bastion of economy. He must defend it. And yet, what can he do? He's got no Hydras. It's just a pack of Lingbane. He's got a single Lurker here. As you can see, Lurkers, as good as they are, Top Terran's pretty good at dodging those spines. That Lurker right now, getting a few Marines, but it gets overwhelmed. And Solar does not have enough to hang on. What a crazy game this was. I got to compliment Solar so much for making this such a close game towards the end. But I also need to say, hats off to BYUN for kind of looking a little bit lost at some moments, but then getting his stuff together and kind of making it work with this style. Very cool style, creates really fun engagements. All right, guys, so you can see on this side, the Corruptors, I think that Corruptor pullback made a lot of sense. And then he starts sieging, I think, the Planetary with, like, Lurkers, right? I think you just want, like, one Lurker in range of the Planetary to try to siege him. He tries to Corruptor P, ends up breaking it. You don't want to put too many Lurkers in range of the Planetary because then you have to manually retarget them on enemy units whenever they come forward. Okay, so here we go. So here's the break. He just shoves. Parasitic Bomb, wrong choice. Wrong choice. You have enough Viper energy. That's 3 full energy Vipers. He could have abducted all 5 of those Libs. They're not clumped. This Parasitic Bomb, it might hit the adjacent Libs. I'm not sure if they're in range or not. But like they're already sieged. You should be abducting. It'll pull them out of siege mode. Problem, he's only got 7 Corruptors. He doesn't have many Hydras. I think they're all... Where are his Hydras? I guess they're all actually, a lot of them are sitting at his rally points, his hatchery rally points. So he's got a lot of idle Hydras, or maybe they just popped out or something like that. Yeah, I guess they just popped out. So he doesn't have a lot of anti-air, but I think he should abduct a bunch of these and then maybe one parasitic bomb, but where are the abducts? Let's watch this. And the corruptors should be A-moving. They should not be stopping attacking for even a second. He throws another parasitic bomb and then finally one abduct. The amount of damage these libs are getting, killing lots of lurkers and lots of units is really big. He's just got to be a bit more decisive about engaging like that. And here, he does take the Widow Mines, which is scary, but I still think he should have killed that Liberator as well. I think Corruptors are so tanky, you've got to just take these libs down. And it's a real arms race where if you get rid of those quickly enough, it could be good. But then because he's got aggroed on the right side, had to send his whole army over there, these Hydras aren't quite in position guarding the Lurkers, and the Lurkers get broken. I think if Solar held this position, denies this base, this game flips the other way. Because then Solar establishes this corner, potentially gets this hatchery, and it's BYUN who has to take a completely exposed command center up here. So I think this break on this, BYUN just shoving forwards, sieging his libs spread out so they don't all get hit by the same parasitic bomb is a really good move. But I do think Solar should have been a bit more abduct heavy. Wait for them to finish sieging and just abduct them. It pulls them out of siege mode. Yes, BYUN could re-siege them, but that's going to lose him a lot of attacking time. Either way, great play for BYUN. Parade's over the top. GG, well played. All right, guys. We've got BYUN in the top left side of the map. Solar in the top right. It's Mothership. And Solar has another chance to finish this series. Honestly, he's got to feel good. As much as losing that game sucks, the fact that he turned that into a macro game after a failed Queenling Nidus is excellent. It's probably a little sad because going for that against a guy who's gone Raven, where like it doesn't add much to help against that. It's actually like freaking sick, but I think there was good Marine production out of BYUN. He actually built a few extra Marines, which helps him be a bit safer there. And then just a quick reaction. Those Queens being off creep obviously hurts. But the fact that he turned it into a macro game from there and was even ahead at 1 or 2 points is very impressive. That being said, cool style for BYUN. I like the old Biomine lib style. Just has a simplicity to it. Marauders up front. Marines just behind them as your second rank. Libs and mines spread across the front. And it's like, it's a very simple army where it's, I'm going to initiate and take a good fight before the Zerg can set up just correctly. Because if the Zerg does have the right mix of like corruptors to overwhelm the libs, maybe a few Vipers for abducts, enough, ground units rolling over the top. And especially if the Zerg is able to actually counterattack you a lot, and you're constantly having to like shift your Widow Mines and libs around because you're using dual siege units, it's actually really awkward to like reposition your army defensively in multiple areas. But if you're able to like set up a sick angle and just force a fight suddenly and that the Zerg's stuck reacting to you like happened in that game, the army plays quite nicely. Thinking of going to Home Story Cup next summer if they end up arranging one. Any thoughts? I've only been to the Tropical Resort Home Story Cup in Berlin, where it's in like a water park inside an old Zeppelin factory, or Zeppelin like airship house kind of thing. Which is a crazy thing. They've got a freaking, you're in Berlin in the middle of winter, and you step into this like frigging giant Zeppelin dome, and it's like humid 30 degrees Celsius the whole time. And there's tropical plants and like dodos running around and water slides everywhere. And you're like, what is this? Staying in there for 3 days was friggin' cool and ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. If anyone's been to Home Story Cup, you guys can let Anchor know your thoughts on kind of how to enjoy the event the most. You're thinking flights, hotel, beer and food, maybe €1,200. Oh, from Finland to there? I mean, you can probably get flights for like 100. I don't know how much flights are there. If you get a cheap flight, yeah. As long as once it gets announced, you book your hotel early, I'm sure you could do it on less than that. For me to come from Australia, it's going to be a couple $1,000 minimum just for the flights probably. But unless I do like a 50-hour transit or have like a 26 layover in Bangalore or something like that. But I think for you, should be able to do it on even more of a budget than that. But I haven't been to the main Home Story Cup. I'm hoping to go in summer as well. If they do one in summer, I'm almost certainly going to make it happen, unless there's a really good reason not to. All right, so we didn't really do any damage early with the Reaper. That's standard. Third hatchery goes down. Solar's gone for a quick Ling speed. Zergling already gets cleaned up, though. I thought his Ling should have hid down here. Would have had a good chance of running in and seeing everything. Overlord did see the third command center early, so great scout there for Solar. These Hellions have not been very successful in this series so long. The question is BYUN going to go cloak this time? Or is he going to try, like, game 1 to go cloakless? So stim or cloak, guys? What does he go for? Stim again? All right, same build from game 1. He's just going to try to not throw the Banshee away. And remember, his first tank push, his tank siege too close. He threw a Banshee away, and then Solar just rolled in with the Hydras. But if it's Hydras again, I mean, it's been various forms of Hydra builds, mostly for Solar. Sometimes link Bane into Hydra. Tank push on this edge could be really nice, potentially. I think it's really hard to push the right side. If Solar does the expansion 4th here, 5th here, which I think is the best way to play this map, that could be hard to deal with. But Solar's actually going to potentially go... Could go Mutas off this. Doesn't have to be a Muta build, but he's got a well-timed lair. Second Banshee's coming out. Yeah, if you want to stay to a budget, just don't play too much poker with the degenerates at Home Story Cup, because that's where the big expenses I think come for a lot of people. It's the degenerate gambling with other random, people gambling on things with each other. I bet you are for freaking $300 Raider wins this map, man. 1-1 upgrades. He's gonna do it again, guys. Hydra, Hydra, Hydra. Where's the Hydra Den, though? I guess he's waiting for 100 gas, but it's like, come on. You can't be forgetting that Hydra Den, mate. Okay, there we go. Hydra Den finally starts. 4th hatchery's down, bottom Banshees are coming up here, but Spore's well placed. Queen can move to respond. Don't see this being a big obstacle. Just got to pull those drones away. And the Queen. Ooh, it's a bait. She gets transfused at the last second a few times. Does almost die anyway, though. 2 Banshees do a lot of damage, man. All right, Hydra upgrades there. We've got 1 tank about to pop. If he builds a second tank and then goes straight away, that would be a good timing. Starport's trying to start Medivacs. He is, of course, supply block, but only for a second. 7 Hydras on the way. He's already going Baneling Nest. And like I said, this I just don't think you've got any use for Banelings this early. That being said, Solar's economy is off the chain. He's going to go 7 gas Hydra Bane. Dude. This is so greedy. But where do you push as BYUN? I think you want to push up here. I think you want to push this angle and try to deny the Evos. You know what would be really cool is if he pushed immediately with 1 tank and tried to actually kill the Evos before Carapace finishes. I don't think that window's open. Oh, he's going to push south. But where do you push along here, down here? Oh, this is a wide open area. This is a bad push angle. I don't think this is a good push angle for BYUN. Solar's going 3 more drones. He's going to have 19 Hydras with Groove Spines. 1-1 upgrades. He's going to finish if he doesn't watch out. I don't like BYUN's push path. Because with this sort of push, it's a very committed Marine Tank Hellbat push. He's kind of just shoving through the open and hoping Solar doesn't have numbers. It might work out, but 1-1 kicking in at the perfect timing here for Solar, the same time as BYUN's 1-1. The Banshees have done nothing for BYUN in this entire series, really. The tanks are going to siege up. The Hellbats and the Marines are there. The 1-1, the shields is done. This time the tanks will not be dying to a Zergling flank, but the arc of Hydras and Queens and Transfusers will not be stopped. And BYUN is looking lost for words. He does not know how to deal with the Hydra opening. He just does not. I've been saying that's the counter push to try and take advantage of it. We've seen Maru do it a few times. But Solar is towing that line of greed so well. He's getting up Groove Spines 1-1 just in the right time. And yeah, I mean, it's a bad push angle, I do think. But honestly, I don't know if there's a great push angle. It's hard to get up there without getting jumped on as well. And I think for BYUN, he needs to find a better opening. His Banshee Hellions achieving nothing. And I can't believe, I said, what did I say in game 1? The Hellion Banshee didn't work out. And I was like, oh, maybe it'd be better to go 3cc 2-on-1 or something. He hasn't done any 2-on-1s. He hasn't done any, like, okay, I'm going to go straight up to the Stim Marine stage of the game. And I'm surprised that he's been so Banshee focused. One game going Raven, all the others going Banshee. When they have, one game he got 9 drones because Solar just completely skipped detection for no reason. And even that wasn't really enough to put him in a good spot. Solar seems to be... like, BYUN's got to find a different opening here to not be in such a rough position. And I wouldn't mind him, like I said, cutting workers to speed up the barracks and hitting a much harder Marine tank timing. Spirit and a bunch of other Terrans used to do, I know, Big Gabe and stuff, some of the Europeans, they used to do a 3cc build, but they'd stop building workers at 45, 50, about 48 or 50 workers, and they'd just like hit with so much Marine tank off 5 barracks, because they'd get their barracks up earlier by cutting worker production, and they'd hit such a sharp Marine tank push. I think Solar's build is very vulnerable to that style. Right now, BYUN, he's on the back foot. He's trying to secure a 4th. Ain't no way Soul's going to let that get up for free. Hydraling Bane, though, kind of wrapping around the edge. I'd like to see him come in with half of his army from this side. He's going to try and attack from the front with everything, which means his army's going to funnel into a bit of a choke point, but BYUN's tank's way too far forward. They were right on the front line where they sieged, and that does cost him 2 tanks. The Marines kite really well, but sieging those tanks there... Is he attacking? BYUN's attacking! I thought surely he must be turtling in this game to try and survive. BYUN says the best answer right now is to just attack. I'm going to take the middle of the map. F you, stupid Zerg player. I don't know, this seems wild. But it does allow him to branch drops off. If he holds the middle, he can branch drops to the north and south. This might be a genius move. Changelings see him coming. Oh god, not on move command, not on move command. Get out of there. Vipers. 3 Vipers are on the way, as are Lurkers. BYUN's on mass Marine tank right now, guys. He's got 8 barracks. He does have a mass of reactors as well, dude. A massive reactors. He's got 2 factories pumping. So many barracks going. But it's a lot of Zerg. Oh no, he's not watching Banelings! Take out the Marines in the south. He was up in the north. Trying to push through Hydra Lurker, though. Maybe a bit too deep. The tanks are doing well there, but losing the presence in the south simplifies everything. And Solar could loop these guys around and go for the rally. Might actually be one of his highest value plays. He doesn't want to leave the south undefended. Pulls back conservatively. 15 Marines building at a time. It is pure reactors, which means Lurkers are a problem. Vipers are a problem. It's nothing but Marines and tanks. Lurkers are going to run in on this north side. Oh, here we go. Marine tank trying to siege this southern base. BYUN is going to need to deal with this. If he just sieges the tank here, scans, he can slowly deal with it, but he's going to lose some infrastructure. Marine tank in the south as well. He's going to try and deal with both sides at once. Is BYUN. This tank sieged a bit too far away, I do believe. He scans the front. Does he have enough scans? He's only got 3 orbitals. Lurkers in 2 places is going to be a problem. The Banelings rolling forward. Their tanks and Marines are holding the position. The Blinding Clouds come down a bit too late. I think those were bad Blinding Clouds for Solar. They came down a bit too late. They didn't time out with the push. Solar messes it up. BYUN's going to use this opportunity to break the front at the same time, but he doesn't have any Marauders in there, and it looks like the Lurkers might barely hold on to this position, and at the same time, BYUN does get overwhelmed. Solar had the numbers. Even though it was a bit sloppy with the Blinding Cloud timing not syncing up with the first engage, he just had the numbers to barely get through. And not just that, he instantly remaxed. Solar's been throwing a lot of units away, but dude, he's still not dealt. He's just move the tanks forward, mate. He's taking his time here. His tanks aren't fully in range. One of them is, one of them isn't. So even if he scans, they will not kill those Lurkers. Might be able to kill it. Does he get rid of both? The splash, he gets rid of one. And he gets rid of the second. Finally, those Lurkers are gone. But BYUN took big damage and distraction from that. The unit's lost time is near dead even. He's got an orbital on his 4th, by the way, showing that BYUN is desperate to have as much money as he can. He does not want to play long game. He just wants to try to win with mass Marine tank by being greedy right here, right now. There's the Lurker sieging the low ground on that side while the Hydraling Lurker busts in from this side. And that is nasty, man. How's he even spotting the high ground? The Overseer can see those mineral patches. Wow. Devious Lurker. Plus Overseer pervert mode. Harassment from the low ground. The tank finally scans and clears it up. Marine counter finds the southern base. BYUN, as always, even when he's barely hanging on to his 3rd, is going to go for a Marine counter attack because he knows fighting into this Hydraling Blinding Cloud with the Lurkers is just a disaster. Those Blinding Clouds so excellent. The Lurkers doing such good damage with only 1 tank in range. I don't think he can break through, and these Lurkers this position. Lurkers in this area have been a real thorn in his side. These Marines are getting ripped to shreds. Finally, they're going to break through and clear that last Lurker. He's still got a Marine drop on the other side as well that did kill a hatchery. BYUN trying to fight his way back into it by making this down and dirty. Historically, mass Marine with crazy drops is how BYUN's made insane comebacks against Solar. But in this game, Solar's just been a bit too solid with his 3-3 on the way now. And being up on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases once this one's done rebuilding. So 6 bases right now, 5 mining. Against a Terran who's barely on 4, down on 60 workers against 87. I mean, it's just such a big advantage for Zerg. Once the upgrades kick in, that's gonna become even huger. And remember, no tech labs on the barracks, guys. They're all reactors. He can't build ghosts. He's gone for a 3rd factory is what he's done, I believe. Or is that just the second factory? No, he's got 3 factories. That's what he's going to do. Marine tank tries to shove here. It's a desperation move for BYUN, trying to cross the giant gash across the center of the mothership. It's hard to get to the Zerg base. I always say, yeah, it's hard for Zerg to defend their bases on this map, but it's also hard for Terran to push. There's a lot of ground to cover, a lot of room between you and your opponents. Well, that's a nice pickup. Gets himself a couple queens. 2 queens go down. The field of creep tumors does get cleared. Tanks here need another scan. They will take out these lurkers on the low ground. But I think just sending those lurkers in continually against a guy who's very low on orbitals, you can just keep sieging lurkers down there and keep sending individual lurkers here, and he'll get wrecked. And you guys know we talked about this a lot with like Raynor versus Clem recently. Raynor finally did it and beat Clem, I believe, on this exact map in their final map of that epic series that we saw last week. And I think this is something where Solar could have also leaned on him with individual lurker harass, because when a Terran's behind in a game, they're down on orbitals, and that's when they don't have an abundance of scans. Double drop does find the expansion in the bottom, but losing your 3rd base, nowhere near as important as losing the hatchery in the bottom right. Doesn't even get the drones. The drones all escape. BYUN's just, he's even on army supply, but Solar's like, oh, wait a second. You're doing that siege tank thing again, aren't you? And he's realizing, hey, if we made Broodlords 5 minutes ago, this would have been a much easier victory. I do wish Solar started doing that a little bit earlier, but I do like that he's at least doing it, you know? I also actually, honestly, he made flyer attacks the previous time. He didn't even make I still don't think he has that piece of pattern recognition baked into his play. I think essentially he's just thinking, oh, he might go range libs, I'll need corruptors. We'll see. If he makes a greatest fire straight away, then I am wrong. Marine tank's going to push the north. Here we go. Ooh, okay, Marine drop in the back as well. Dude, Solar needs a good fight. He can't mess this fight up. He's got to be careful. It's all about the blinding clouds. If the Viper's blinding cloud every tank as he engages, easiest fight of his life. If he somehow messes that up, if BYUN can put enough pressure on, it could be pretty good for BYUN. BYUN does save some Marines. He's bouncing around, but blinding clouds, watch out. Okay, so 2 tanks, 3 tanks get blinding clouded. There's just not enough Marines. So many blinding clouds coming in here. Yeah, so many blinding clouds coming in here. The siege tanks all get cleared. Not enough Marines to even gun down those front-running Zerglings and Banelings. This hatchery will get cancelled. Oh, if he targets it, which he does. But at the same time, BYUN not only losing that drop, he's getting busted on the other side. Shoving into Lurkerling with Mass Marine. Getting just spikes up the butts of those Marines. A terrible way to go. One of the worst ways to get shot down. And Solar doing just fantastic play all around. The Spire did indeed not get turned into Greater Spire. Like I said, I think he's just thinking about opening up the tech tree for libs, but big oversight. Big oversight. 2 factory tank, or even in this case, 1, 2, and 3 factory siege tanks. So weak to Broodlords, man. But he's done it with Lurker Viper well enough, so can't really fault that in this particular game. BYUN's coping right now, guys. He's down 80 supply, 28 workers to 83. Focuses a lot of Banelings, which is cool, but he's taking damage as well. Did Frenzy get made this game? It did. He maybe could have Frenzied, lunged those Hydras forward there to potentially get another medevac. He will get 1 there on the retreat. BYUN's just desperately trying to drop here, drop there. High ground, low ground. It's that Rebecca Black style. Which seat will you take? Well, he's a Terran, so it's high ground, then low ground, then high ground, then low ground, then high ground, then low ground. Low ground, then high ground. Solar's like, get out, man. I got you, boy. Parasitic bombs finally come down here to seal the deal on this drop. Viper almost gets shot down by the Marines, and not quite. The parasitic bombs is going to take one more to finish this. Dude, he's so annoying. BYUN's going to try and dive the top because he knows Solar got lazy and F2'd his whole army down there. The Ling Hydra finally cleaned up the bottom base. The top base does clean up a few veins. Oh my god, BYUN is so annoying. But there's lurkers down here as well. Hatchery does fall. Ling Hydra running in. BYUN just needs to float a command center to the corner of the map, and that's when we know he's a true Terran player. Giving you that placement match experience, you know? Zerg is stupid! I'm gonna float my buildings to the corner! GG. BYUN does tap out. He put up a good fight there. I do think his mass marine all-ins can do really well, but honestly, this just felt like a series where Solar is wiping the floor with BYUN's openings. His Hydra builds are super optimized. I've been doing a lot of Hydra builds myself as well, because I do think the control you get if you survive like any early marine tank push is just so much better. Like, you know, when you're playing Biomine and you're just trying to like split lings constantly, when you have Hydras, Widow Mines just don't feel very powerful. Feels like it takes away one of Terran's better playstyles, and it's just really comfortable right now. It's going to be really interesting to watch. I think the more clever Terrans show how to take advantage of this style. I know Raynor hasn't been playing it much against Clem, which tells me I think Clem's already figured out how to do the tank pushes to punish it. But BYUN must have been missing a few details. So hopefully we see Clem versus Solar in the near future, so we can see how kind of the best anti-Hydra player versus the best Hydra player matches up right now. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Goodbye and good night.